Well, what I'll be talking about today is pretty heavy, so it's a good thing I got a joke to start us off with. Turtle's crossing the road when he's mugged by two snails. The police come and ask him what happened. Turtle says, I don't know, it happened so fast. What a week, huh? I was sitting there watching on TV as the Capitol was overrun by people, almost all white people, pretty much white people, breaking in there and wrecking havoc, watching them break through the window, watching somebody sitting at the podium, sitting in Pelosi's office. And I was mad. I was really, really angry and hurt and thrown. And I can only remember two other times in my life where I felt that way about our nation. Obviously, one was when the Twin Towers took their hit, 9/11. And the other was when JFK got shot. And the thing about it is my anger grew right up to the point in which I saw our leaders' anger grow as well. And isn't that funny how sometimes we get to see ourselves better through others? And when I heard that Joe Biden, President-elect Joe Biden, had changed his rhetoric from unity to anger, that upset me more than the event that had occurred. Because the thing that I know most is that anger begets anger. And that when you add fire to a fire that's already lit, the fire grows bigger. And in the words of Mahatma Gandhi, an eye for an eye makes the whole world blind. Now, I got to tell you, it's not an easy thing to look at that and see, wait a minute, we need another path here. Everybody's yelling about something needs to be done, and something does need to be done. But what needs to be done here has to be different. Einstein said, you cannot fix a problem by the same thinking that got you there. It takes something new and different. Joe Biden was starting to lead that way and now has changed his mind. And I am upset by that because I thought we really had a chance for some healing. Now, what happened in the Capitol was horrendous. But if we move forward seeking justice, then what happened to Christ consciousness? How do we call ourselves a Christian country when everything we do has nothing to do with Christ, has everything to do with the Old Testament? Almost everything that happens in our reactions to the reactions that happen when things are done have nothing to do with the teachings of Christ, have nothing to do with turning the other cheek, have nothing to do with embracing those who are different from us. You cannot affect true and real change with violence upon violence, as much as it may feel good in the moment. if the Democrats go ahead and move forward in impeaching the president, which everybody who's a Democrat feels is this great idea, all we have done is exactly the same thing they were doing legally. But where does that get us? Except more division in our country. What are we going to do after the impeachment? Then start unity? After everybody's expressed their anger, then start unity? It doesn't work like that, because the more one side expresses their anger, the more angry the other side gets. Then they express their anger, and then the more anger this side gets. So some of you may be thinking, what? They should get away with what they did to the Capitol? I don't know that anybody ever gets away with anything. We all have our own spiritual journeys to lead, and at some point, somebody's got to take the high ground. It's got to start somewhere. And we can say, well, after we get our justice. And I say, no. So we start within our own hearts. We start by knowing that unity is what leads to love, which what leads to seeing more of a spiritual presence in our lives. That anger cannot get us there. I was angry. I was angry on so many levels. I mean, seeing how the cops treated the white people, and then seeing how they treated the Black Lives Matter movement that happened earlier in the year, the difference, the difference is so gigantic and so awful, and needs to be addressed and needs to be changed. The amount of racism in this country is overwhelming and absolutely needs to shift. But will violence get us there? Will justice get us there? People talk about social justice all the time. And I'm starting to realize, and I did too, it was a big word for me, social justice. But what we really need here is love. That's what we preach. We preach bringing out our Christ consciousness. And Christ preach turning the other cheek. I am not asking Black people to continually turn, they've been doing that for hundreds of years. I'm just saying something here's got to shift, and the shift has to happen in a way that we haven't yet seen. And what's going on in Washington today ain't going to get us there. That is my point. Anger begets anger. And so each of us who are not in Washington, who are here looking at what's going on, it's up to us to find some place in our hearts where we actually live and breathe and behave like the teachings of Ernest Holmes are true. And that's not the case when we're acting out about what's going on in Washington. It is the case when we do like what Trish was saying. I mean, Trish, talk about being on the money. I mean, that is the essence of our teaching, is what Trish was saying. That we breathe in and remember the truth in this moment. Some of you may have heard the story of a time when my son was very young. I forget, somewhere between 6 and 8. He invited a friend with him. We went down to the beach, and we were sharing a house with a bunch of my friends. And one morning, I was hoping to sleep in while my son is punching me in the head saying, take him to the beach. And another friend said, I'll take him. And so he takes my friend and my son's friend, both little kids, down to the beach. Well, a little later, I wake up, finally take a shower, put on my swim trunks, and I'm having breakfast as I'm watching my friend who said he'd be responsible for these two kids walking back to the house without the kids. And I'm like, where are the kids? And he said, oh, they wanted to stay on the beach, but I was tired of being in the sun. Well, I was appalled. And I go running down to the beach to make sure the kids are okay. And they were. They were sitting in the sand playing. I mean, they were fine. Nobody drowned, thank God. But my heart's racing, and I had no idea what I was going to find when I got down there. They could have been stolen, kidnapped, gone, anything. They were little. So when the group of friends, including the one who was supposed to watch these kids, come down to the beach later, my first reaction was anger. I was really pissed that he was not responsible enough to keep watch over those kids. Well, as soon as I started expressing my anger, he got incredibly defensive and started yelling at me louder than I was yelling at him, with all our other friends standing around. And within a minute, less, within a few seconds, I realized that I had a choice. I could be right, or there could be unity. But both weren't going to stand in that moment. Either I was going to blow up the weekend because I knew my friend, and if I came at him any harder, he would have blown up the weekend. Or I could let it go and just make sure I didn't let him watch the kids anymore. And so I let it go. And it was such a lesson for me in unity. And the rest of the weekend, all the rest of my friends were just bent over backwards to take care of the kids, to take care of me. They were just so nice about everything. The weekend, at literally from that moment, elevated to a whole nother level of community, love, and being together that would not have been possible if what I had done instead was my initial reaction, which was to blast this guy for leaving those two little kids on the beach. And I feel that way about this incident because our democracy is still whole. The kids didn't die that day. Neither did our democracy. A building got scratched up. Most, except for one cop, everybody else who died was the people who busted into the building. Now the deaths, that's horrendous. But if there was the proper guards there, death and those people still attacked, death still would have happened. People, no matter how well prepared they were, people were going to die that day because the people who were attacking the building were attacking it in a way that they weren't taking care of their own lives. So our democracy is alive and well. It may not feel that way in the moment. And so instead of another attack, instead of standing for being right, is a great spiritual saying. You can either be right or you can be happy. Well, here's our moment. This is our moment to shine. This is our moment to stand in our teaching the way Trish did this week. I mean, she did it better than I did it. I mean, she's thinking about, consistent prayer. I'm thinking about, wow, I took such a long walk the other day because, that's how I cool out. I walked up and down so many hills that by the time I got home, my legs hurt. I haven't taken a walk long enough for my legs to hurt in years. But that's how I get straight. I walk until I'm straight, and I had to walk. Trish did better. She just went into prayer. I wish I would have thought of that. Here's our moment. This is our true opportunity to stand for something higher than what we think we believe about Washington, what we think we believe about our democracy, what we think we believe about our country. There is only one power, one presence. We say that over and over and over. And what an important point in our history, in our lives, to remember that point, to gather it in. It's easy to, there is no defense. Of course, people will be defensive, but we are clearly right that what happened was wrong. So we can get very righteous around being right, that what happened was wrong. But it won't get us any closer to what we really want. Love, unity, healing. This is what I lean on right now. I lean on those 3 words. Those 3 words get me through when I think I'd rather be right. And my wife will tell you, I like being right. But it doesn't do our relationship any good. We get along much better when I'm, instead of being focused on being right, am focused on love, unity, healing. So let's all say that together. Love, unity, healing. Love, unity, healing. Take a deep breath, sit back, close your eyes. Let the events of the week wash over you. And as you're seeing them pass in that movie lens you have with your eyes closed, say these 3 words: love, unity, healing. Love, unity, healing. Love, unity, healing. That is what we want to create and hold for ourselves. That's what we want to hold for each other. That's what we want to hold for our country. And that's what will create a world that works for everyone. Thank you. I love you.